Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Find Your Treasures. I'm Kate and I'm really glad that you're here. Today we're going to talk about a topic called They Chose You. And that is all about how your children chose you to be their mum or to be their dad. And I've got a beautiful divine channel message that I'm going to share with you. But first, this time I'm going to talk about what that means to me that they chose you and my experiences as a mum and how I've had to advocate for my children along the way and how I learned to do that and all the power that I tapped into in myself to do that, which I know you have within you. So I hope you find this message really inspiring and I hope it helps you remember that you are your children's superhero. They chose you. So as a mum or as a dad, you are going to really step into that power and remember that and be their superhero. So let's dive in. So what does it mean to advocate for your children? Well, I guess when you first become a mum or a dad, you're learning so much. You've had your child, especially when it's your first, you've never done this before, this parenting gig. So you're looking for a lot of advice and you're trusting a lot of advice that comes to you. And you're looking for help, I guess, in healthcare, with schools, navigating daycares, and there's lots of different things that you are coming across and facing, which you're facing for the first time. And this can feel really bewildering, especially when you don't know which way to go. And if your children or your child seems different in some way to the rest of what your friends are experiencing, that can make you feel really isolated or alone. And sometimes you can feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. How do I, what do I do here? How do I get help with this? And I definitely felt that myself. I remember when my daughter was born, it was, not an easy birth, but it was sort of seamless. And she popped into the world, and I had like a start to parenthood where everything was just kind of going the way the book said. She was napping, she was feeding. And I thought, okay, this is what being a mum's about. And then when my son was born, it was an emergency cesarean. And I feel like the actual emergency cesarean itself broke me. And I'm sure some of you can resonate with that feeling of feeling really powerless to what is happening. And in a moment that is actually one of the best days of your entire life of, your child is being welcomed into the world, but feeling physically broken and not really knowing how to navigate that. And for me, when my son was born, the sort of first few years with him as a little baby were filled with lots of doctor's appointments. Instead of, going to the park and having play dates, like I felt like many of my friends were doing with their little ones, I was navigating part-time work at the same time as then trying to make appointments to see pediatricians and OTs and physiotherapists, neurologists and heart specialists. And when you are in that moment where you have this sense of feeling like, I can't believe that I'm here, but also I'm his mum, this is my job. I have to be the one to do this. Of course, I had my support from my husband, but it's that really shattering feeling of having the sense that you don't know what to do and you're hoping you're making the right decisions, but you sometimes are feeling like you're navigating this blind. And the what I discovered in my process, definitely, I felt like I was going through a dark forest and not knowing which way to go, which direction to take, and who to listen to. I feel like through that process, I started to listen to my own intuition. So I started to really connect with my heart and listen to my gut instinct. And that's what you can do too. And feel into your gut instinct and think to yourself, does this feel right for me? Does this advice that I'm being given, whether that's medical, whether that's something a doctor is saying to you, whether it's something a school is saying to you, does this feel right for me? Because as a mum, as a dad, we know what's best for our children. We know them the best. And a big part of being a parent is stepping into that role of really realizing we're advocating for our children. So if we're coming across a situation or some advice being given by an authority figure, we don't have to feel disempowered. We don't have to think, oh, their advice is the only way to go. Or, gee, I doesn't sound right to me, or maybe this doesn't feel right. And maybe I'm going to go and get more advice. And that is something that I definitely did and experienced, of listening to my intuition, really backing myself in knowing that as my children's parent and with my husband's support, is this step right? Is this step right? And so as my son was growing and we were going to a lot of these appointments, and then it came time to enter school, for example, we knew that if he had entered the school year that was set by the government's requirements, it wouldn't have been the best decision for him and for his education, for his life. And so I went into his school and said no, I want him to be enrolled in the next year. And that was a challenge. And but the whole way in my mind, I sat there knowing I know what's best for him. I know, and I'm going to make sure this is the outcome that he gets. There's no alternative. And so I feel like it's really about finding that power within yourself and believing in yourself so that then you can parent in the best way that you feel like you can. And remembering you have that power to say, no, that's not right for my son, or that's not right for my child. Um, and then other examples of times when I've really had to find that power within me is navigating medical, scenarios with my children. We've probably all had that experience where you walk into an emergency waiting room and see, a huge room full of people, and you think, no, my child needs help now. And I've definitely felt like I've had to tap into like my mother bear instinct of becoming a grizzly bear and thinking, I'm going to do what I need to do to get my child into that hospital room as quickly as possible, because as a parent, you're the one who is going to advocate for your child. No one else is going to come along and do that for you. So it's about really feeling that your child chose you to be their mum, to be their dad, and remembering that. And so when you are hitting scenarios where you feel, hang on, my child is different. At school, for example, there might be things that are happening that don't feel right for your child, or the teachers might be saying things to you about your child, and in your heart that's not right. And I guess I've definitely felt that. And when it comes up, I recognize and remember this teacher is in a system that has been designed a long time ago. Our education system's 150, 200 years old, and we've just rinsed and repeated it and added on a lot more to the curriculum in that last, 100 years, 50 years. So the teachers themselves are trying to navigate this system. And as we all know from looking at the news, it's not, our education systems are failing. So in those instances where I've had a teacher come to me and tell me for my child, oh, he needs help. You need to go to see an OT. You need to go and do this and this and this. I've really thought to myself, do I agree with that? Does this sit right for me? And knowing in my heart, he is perfectly fine. And in time, he will get there. I feel like education schools these days have become so specific, and the expectations on the children and what they are meant to achieve or perform or do at such a young age is like in a really cookie cutter approach. So there's one, I don't even know what this perfect ideal child who that is, because we all know that no such child exists, but a quiet, compliant child that is very good at academics and very, very good at sport is pretty much this mold. And if you are deviating from that in any way, all of a sudden the system fails and tells you there's something wrong with your child. Whereas we know as parents, and I hope you realize too, there's something wrong with the system. It is not the children who are wrong or who are failing in any way. It's the system has failed and we need a new one. And So I remember that in my heart. And in this instance, I took my son off to an OT and then found this very experienced, older lady. And I spoke to her and said, my gut instinct is this is all age appropriate. And that as he grows and develops and progresses, he's going to be perfectly fine. And having that conversation with her, she said, yeah, there's all these different age ranges for what people are meant, the expectation that children can do in certain times. And he's going to get there. So I had to then go back and convey that to the teacher at our school and say, guess what? He's perfectly fine. He's going to get there in the end. Don't worry. So advocating for your child is really a big part of being a parent, and remembering that those authority figures that you're encountering, whether that's a doctor, whether that is the government, whether that is a teacher, remember they are constrained within a system that's old and needs change. So any advice that they're telling you, any perspective that they're telling you, remember you have the right and the power to choose another way, or think to yourself, this doesn't seem right to me. Um, so I feel like as we, progress and grow as parents, remembering our power within us is such an important thing for us all to do. And listening to our intuition and tuning into that and remembering that we have our child's best interests at heart. So we are going to do whatever we can to help our children. And that's a big part of why they chose us as well. So we can remember that we're not failing as parents, that even when we're presented with challenges, really hard, positions where you might feel like you're the only one that has this point of view, or that there's no one else, who has difficulties. Remember, when you feel that way, you're not alone. And you are the superhero for your child. So you can remember that you're being supported with lots of love and angels all around you, which is in this beautiful divine message that I'll read out soon. But also remember, your child chose you. So they must, at their soul level, believe you're going to do a good job. So you're going to get there, and I believe in you. And I hope you've enjoyed this message. And now I'm going to read out the beautiful channeled message for you. And let me know in the comments if you have any instances when you felt that way, where you've had to advocate for your child. Okay, let's dive into this beautiful divine message. Okay, I've got it here. I channeled this morning on the tree on banjo, but it's raining outside now. So I thought I'd come inside and read it to you. And it's called They Chose You. You, my dear, have much to learn about who you are, about the way things work. You are a being of light, and the angels by your side are reminding you today you don't have to hide. Shine your light and remind every mum, every father that they aren't doing this alone. As parents, when you struggle, when you break down inside, always remember you're not alone. There are angels by your side, lifting you, carrying you. Feel the flutter of their wings. Feel the grace of their love when you are parenting. Know the challenges you face as your children grow are not faced by you alone. You have a whole team helping as well. So call on them when you feel the systems fail. Call on your angels and say, show me the way. Show me how to help my little ones grow, to meet their needs, to help them on their path as all the systems fail. For the systems that have been erected so very long ago, government, education, healthcare, they are crumbling and the cracks are starting to show. They are evident to you when you look upon them in the face and ask, do you have my children's best interests at heart? And you hear a resounding no. For you, dear one, for you know, dear one, that the education of light children such as yours is not meant to take place under systems of rule and control, under hierarchies, when even the choice of what to wear to school is not their own. These old systems to limit and suppress are archaic and old. So you've watched them break down and crumble, and in their place, new systems and ways of educating young souls will rise in their place. For the golden light that is coming to earth will herald a new age, a new beginning, a rebirth. And your choice as parents, sending your little ones off to school as you watch these systems fail, is twofold. The first part is to remember you are the one who knows the best way. You know your child, their needs, wants, and interests. You know your child, their health, their well-being is your business. They chose you many lifetimes ago to come to be here together at this time, in a time like humanity has never seen before. As you remember your place in the galaxy and stars, as you remember who humanity is and feel the tides finally rise and wash away the scum that has grown in dark places and carry them away as a great wave washes humanity's faces. And the second part of your choice as parents, sending your children off to school before these changes take place, is to remember you are their guide. Shepherd them in the right way. Shepherd them towards love, light, and truth. Watch them light up as they discover what it means to be true. Truly them, truly unique. A child here on earth destined to shine and help Earth's rebirth. For your role as parents on Mother Earth is just like her role for you, to provide for them, to ground them, to help them remember their truth. That no matter what they are told in the old schools before these systems break for good, is that they are a child from heaven, full of light, and to remember their truth. Their generation will bring about great change as the tide and waves recede, and earth will rise, and your children's generation will succeed in instigating new ways, new systems of living on this planet that will welcome great relief in their hearts of everyone who inhabits this beautiful planet, this jewel amongst the stars. So welcome it and shepherd your children with pride. And always remember as you walk this path to disregard any authority, be it school, government, or doctor, who doesn't have your child's best interests at heart. Walk your truth, hold your head high, and it will show as you walk your path and feel your light glow. And I hope you loved listening to that beautiful message. And I hope it really helps you remember your power, your divine power, and to really step into that. And I know that it's challenging, especially when you're starting out as a young mom or a young dad and you are navigating things for the first time. But remember to always pause and think, how does this sit with me? What do I feel is in my child's best interest? And don't be afraid to speak up and ask those questions. Because as we're watching these systems fail and change, we are the ones helping to remake the new by asking why, why are we having this in our classroom? Why is this the way things are done? And this will help the new arise. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.